My parents expected me to pay my spoiled sister's debt. I said no and cut them off. My sister has never worked a real job in her life. She's 32 years old and still lives in the basement apartment of my parents' house rent-free. She spends money like she prints it herself. Designer bags, expensive shoes, weekly spa treatments, vacations to places she posts about on social media but never actually enjoys because she's too busy taking pictures. I'm 28. I've worked since I was 15. I put myself through college while working full-time at a grocery store. I got a degree in accounting and now I work at a firm downtown. I make good money because I earned it. Last month my parents invited me over for Sunday dinner. I should have known something was wrong because my mother made my favorite meal and my father actually put on a nice shirt. We made small talk through dinner. Then my mother cleared her throat and looked at my father. He nodded at her like they had rehearsed this. "We need to talk about your sister," my mother said. "What about her?" "She's gotten herself into some financial trouble." I almost laughed. "What kind of trouble?" My father pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. I opened it and saw credit card statements. The total at the bottom made my stomach drop. $87,000. "How is this possible?" I asked. "She doesn't even have a job. She has credit cards," my mother said quietly. "Multiple credit cards." I flipped through the pages. Designer stores, restaurants, hotels, first-class plane tickets, an entire lifestyle funded by debt. "The minimum payments are more than she can handle," my father said. "The interest is eating her alive, so she needs to get a job and pay it off." My parents exchanged another look. "We were hoping you could help," my mother said. "Help how?" "Pay off the debt, or at least most of it." I stared at them. "You want me to pay $87,000 for my sister's shopping addiction? You make good money," my father said. "And family takes care of family." "Where is she right now?" "Downstairs. She was too embarrassed to come up, but not too embarrassed to send you to ask me for almost $90,000. My mother reached across the table and grabbed my hand. "Please, she's your sister. She made mistakes, but she's learned her lesson." "Has she?" "Because these charges are from last month. She's still spending. She's going through a hard time emotionally." I pulled my hand back. I worked 60-hour weeks to pay for my own education. I drove a car that broke down constantly because I couldn't afford anything better. I ate cheap food and lived in tiny apartments with roommates who drove me crazy. I did all of that while she was living rent-free and buying $1,000 purses. "We know you worked hard," my father said. "That's why you're in a position to help now." I'm in a position to help myself. I just finished paying off my student loans last year. I was planning to save for a house. "You can save for a house later. Your sister needs help now." I stood up from the table. No, my mother repeated. "No, I'm not paying for her mistakes. I'm not rewarding years of irresponsible behavior. And I'm not going to be the family bank account just because I made good choices and she didn't." My father's face went red. "After everything we did for you, what exactly did you do for me?" "I paid for my own school. I bought my own car. I got my own apartment. You helped her with all of those things and she still ended up $87,000 in debt." "We raised you," my mother said coldly. "You raised me to work hard and be responsible. I did that. She didn't. That's not my problem to fix." I grabbed my purse and headed for the door. "If you walk out right now, don't bother coming back," my father shouted. I turned around. "I've been paying for my sister's failures my whole life. Every birthday party that was smaller than hers because you ran out of money. Every Christmas where she got more presents. Every family vacation I couldn't go on because there wasn't room in the budget after her expenses. I'm done." I walked out and drove home. For 2 weeks, I heard nothing. Then the calls started. First my mother, crying about how I was tearing the family apart. Then my father, threatening to write me out of their will like I cared about inheriting their debt. Then my sister herself, calling me selfish and heartless and a bunch of other words I won't repeat. I blocked all 3 of them. A month later, I heard from my aunt that my sister had declared bankruptcy. My parents had to sell their house to help cover some of the debt that was in their name. They moved into a small apartment. My sister moved in with them. My aunt asked if I felt guilty. I told her the truth. I felt free for the first time in my life. I wasn't responsible for fixing problems I didn't create. I wasn't the family safety net anymore. Last week, my mother showed up at my job. She looked older, tired. "We lost everything," she said. "I know. Your sister is finally getting help. She's seeing a therapist. That's good. We were wondering if maybe you could loan us some money just to get back on our feet." I looked at this woman who had always put my sister first, who had asked me to sacrifice my future for someone who never sacrificed anything. "No," I said, "but we're your parents. And she's your daughter. You chose her over me for 30 years. Now you get to live with that choice." I went back to my desk and got back to work. She stood there for another minute before leaving. I haven't heard from any of them since.